Captain Narration stood on the observation deck of Terra's shield, watching the distant stars flicker with unnatural light. Each flash meant another battle in the endless war that had consumed the galaxy for over a decade. She pressed her palm against the cool metal wall and felt the slight vibration of the station's massive engines, keeping Earth's orbital defense platform steady. "Another one," said Lieutenant Wu Jin beside her, pointing to a bright flash near the Centauri system. "That's the third battle this week in that sector." Nara nodded but said nothing. 37 years had passed since the Rilani Trade Consortium first made contact with Earth. The tall, blue-skinned aliens had arrived in massive ships, offering technology and friendship. They also brought news of a galaxy at war. 3 great powers fought for control of the star systems. The Vexari swarm spread like insects across worlds, turning entire planets into breeding grounds for their endless armies. The Kelthani Empire built cities of living crystal that grew across continents, their people singing in harmonious voices that could shatter mountains. The Nephilim Collective floated through space as beings of pure gas and energy, consuming the atmospheres of planets to fuel their expansion. Each species wanted Earth to join their side. Each promised victory and riches. Earth's answer had been the same for decades: no. Chairman Minho Kim had made that decision when Nara was still a child. He believed that getting involved in an ancient war would only bring destruction to humanity. Instead, Earth chose to trade with all sides, selling rare minerals and medical supplies to whoever could pay. "Captain Shin, you're needed in the briefing room," came a voice over the intercom. Nara made her way through the corridors of Terra's shield. The station housed 3,000 people and enough weapons to defend Earth's orbital space. But those weapons had never been fired in anger. Earth's policy was simple: trade freely, fight only if attacked. Dr. Jinwoo Park was already waiting in the briefing room when Nara arrived. The chief xenobiologist looked tired, his usually neat hair messy, from running his hands through it. Holographic displays showed the current state of the Galactic War, with red zones marking active battlefields. "The situation is getting worse," Jinwoo said without greeting. "The war has now consumed 17 star systems. We estimate over 40 billion casualties in the last year alone." Nara studied the display. "Any changes in their tactics?" "The Vexari are using new bioweapons. The Kelthani have started growing crystal fortresses in space. The Nephilim are draining entire gas giants to power their war machines." Jinwoo touched a control, and the display zoomed in on a devastated system. "This used to be the Morvani homeworld, population of 8 billion. Now it's a dead rock. And they still want us to pick a side." "More than ever. Ambassador Su-Young Lee has received formal requests from all 3 factions this month. They're offering better terms, more technology, exclusive trade agreements." Jinwoo paused. "They're also making threats." Nara felt a chill. "What kind of threats?" "Nothing direct. But the Vexari ambassador mentioned that neutrality might not be an option much longer. The Kelthani suggested that those who don't stand with them might be considered enemies. The Nephilim representative simply said that isolation has its limits." The doctor opened, and Chairman Minho Kim entered. At 65, he still carried himself with the confidence that had kept Earth neutral for 3 decades. His black hair was now silver, but his eyes remained sharp and determined. "Captain Shin, Dr. Park," he said, taking a seat at the head of the table. "I've just finished a conversation with the Security Council. The pressure to join the war is increasing." "Sir, what's changed?" Nara asked. "Intelligence reports suggest that one of the factions is developing a new type of weapon, something that goes beyond conventional warfare." Minho activated another display. "We don't have details, but our sources indicate it's designed to permanently sterilize planets." Jinwoo leaned forward. "Sterilize how?" "Unknown. But if true, it represents a new level of threat, not just to military targets, but to all life." Minho's expression was grim. "The Council is divided. Some members believe we should ally with whoever opposes this weapon. Others think we should increase our defenses and maintain neutrality." "What do you think, sir?" Nara asked. "I think we've survived 37 years by being smart, not brave. Earth is one small world with 7 billion people. Out there, species control hundreds of worlds with trillions of citizens. If we pick the wrong side, humanity could be wiped out in a matter of weeks." A soft chime indicated an incoming priority. Message. The holographic display shifted to show Ambassador Soo-Young Lee calling from the diplomatic station near Mars. Chairman Kim, we have a situation, Soo-Young said. Her usually calm demeanor showed signs of stress. I've received an encrypted communication from someone claiming to be a Vexari hive queen. The Vexari don't normally contact us directly, Jinwoo said. They prefer to work through intermediaries. This one is different. She identified herself as Zethka, and she's requesting immediate private contact with Earth's leadership. She says it's about something called the Cleansing Protocol. Minho and Nara exchanged glances. Put her through, but maintain full security. Protocols, Minho ordered. The display flickered and resolved into the image of a Vexari queen. Unlike the soldiers that humans usually saw, she was massive, easily 3 meters tall, with forearms and mandibles that clicked nervously. Her compound eyes reflected the light in rainbow patterns. Chairman Kim of Earth, the alien said in perfect English. I am Zethka, Queen of the Seventh Hive. I risk death by speaking to you, but the threat is too great to ignore. What threat? Minho asked. The Kelthani faction, known as Pure Light, has developed the Cleansing Protocol. It is not merely a weapon. It is the end of all organic life in the galaxy. Her mandibles clicked rapidly. They believe only crystal-based life deserves to exist. They plan to sterilize every world that harbors biological organisms. Why are you telling us this? Nara asked. Because Earth has remained neutral. Because you have not chosen sides in this war. Because if the Pure Light succeeds, your neutrality will not save you. Nothing will save anyone. Jinwoo leaned closer to the display. Do you have proof of this weapon? 3 worlds in the outer rim have already been tested. Kelavar, Thos, and New Geneva. All life eliminated down to the bacterial level. The planets remain physically intact, but they are dead. Completely dead. The briefing room fell silent. New Geneva had been a human colony of 50,000 people. Earth had received no word of any attack on the settlement. When? Minho asked quietly. 2 weeks ago. The Pure Light faction controls the information. They told the galaxy that New Geneva was destroyed in a military action. They did not mention that every living thing on the planet was erased. Soo-Young appeared in a smaller window beside the Vexari Queen. Sir, I've been trying to contact New Geneva for the past week. No response to any communication attempts. The cleansing protocol spreads like a virus, Zethka continued. Once activated on a world, it can jump to nearby planets through quantum resonance. The Pure Light plans to activate it simultaneously on dozens of worlds. Within months, the entire galaxy will be sterilized. What do you want from us? Minho asked. I want you to survive. My people are already doomed. The Nephilim cannot evacuate their gas-form bodies to escape. But humans might find a way. You always find ways. Perhaps you can find a way to stop this madness. The transmission ended, leaving the 3 humans staring at a blank display. The war that Earth had avoided for 37 years was about to become irrelevant. If the Vexari Queen was telling the truth, neutrality would not save humanity from extinction. Sir, Nara said carefully, if this cleansing protocol is real, our entire strategy needs to change. Minho stood and walked to the viewport, looking out at the stars where distant battles still raged. 37 years of peace, he said quietly. 37 years of staying out of other people's wars. And now the war is coming to us whether we want it or not. He turned back to face them. Alert all defense stations. Begin Security Protocol 7 and get me a direct line to the President. It looks like our isolation is about to end. Commander Hyunwoo Choi was finishing his morning coffee when the proximity alarm started screaming throughout the Deep Space Patrol ship Wanderer. The coffee went flying as he jumped from his chair and ran to the bridge. Report, he called as he slid into the captain's seat. Large vessel approaching from the Galactic Core, announced Sensor Officer Kyung. It's massive, sir, at least 2 kilometers long. Configuration matches Kelthani Empire design, but something's wrong with it. The main screen lit up with the image of a crystal ship that looked like someone had taken a hammer to a diamond sculpture. Huge sections of the vessel's crystalline hull were cracked or missing entirely. Atmosphere leaked from dozens of breaches, forming ice crystals that sparkled in the starlight. Sir, they're broadcasting on all frequencies, Communications Officer Dana reported. It's a distress call. Put it through. The screen filled with the face of a Kelthani, but unlike any Hyunwoo had seen before. Most Kelthani were beautiful, their crystal features catching light in amazing patterns. This one looked shattered. Literally. Cracks ran through the being's translucent skin, and one of its arms was missing entirely. "This is War Singer Kithara of the Crystal Harmony," the alien said in a voice like broken glass. "We request immediate sanctuary under galactic law. We are refugees fleeing persecution by our own government." Hyunwoo had been patrolling the outer system for 5 years, but this was completely new. The Kelthani Empire was one of the most unified powers in the galaxy. They didn't have civil wars or refugees. "War Singer Kithara, this is Commander Choi, of the Earth Vessel Wanderer. Please state the nature of your emergency." "Commander, our empire has been taken over by a faction called Pure Light. They have declared all non-crystal life forms to be impure. They plan to cleanse the galaxy of biological organisms using a weapon that turns living worlds into dead rock." 3 weeks had passed since the Vexari Queen's warning, and Earth's government was still debating what to do. Now the proof was floating. "Damaged in their solar system. How many people are aboard your ship?" Hyunwoo asked. 17,000 survivors from 3 worlds that refuse to support Pure Light. "Commander, we have information about their plans. We know where they are building the weapons, but we need sanctuary." Hyunwoo looked at his crew. Earth's neutrality policy was clear. Help anyone in distress, but don't take sides in the war. But these weren't enemy combatants. They were refugees running from their own people. "War Singer Kithara, please maintain your current position. I'm contacting Earth. Command for instructions." Within an hour, every important person on Earth seemed to be arguing over what to do. The view screen in Wanderer's briefing room showed 6 officials talking at once. "We can't take them in," Admiral Yuna Jang was saying from Earth Defense Headquarters. "The moment we give sanctuary to Kelthani refugees, we're picking a side in their civil war." "They're not asking us to fight," President Jahoon Moon replied from Seoul. "They're asking for basic humanitarian aid." Dr. Jinwoo Park's image appeared in another window. "Sir, I've been analyzing the damage to their ship. The energy signatures match what the Vexari Queen told us about the cleansing protocol. These people have actually seen this weapon in action." "All the more reason to stay neutral," Admiral Jang insisted. "If this Pure Light faction can destroy entire worlds, we don't want them mad at us." Engineer Dongmin Ko had been aboard the Crystal Harmony for 2 hours, and what he found there made him sick. The ship's medical bay was full of Kelthani whose crystal bodies were partially dissolved. Others had lost limbs or showed cracks that would never heal properly. "The weapon doesn't just kill," War Singer Kithara explained as she led him through the damaged sections. "It breaks down the quantum bonds that hold matter together. For crystal beings like us, it causes slow dissolution. For biological life, it means instant death." Dongmin ran his scanner over a section of the ship's hull. "These readings are incredible. The energy that hit you is still active at the molecular level. It's like a virus that attacks the basic structure of reality." 3 worlds, Engineer Ko. Kelthani Prime's northern continent, the colony at Vextar, and your own New Geneva settlement. All of them tested to perfect the weapon. "How do you know about New Geneva?" Kithara's crystalline features shifted in what might have been sadness. "Because I was there when they activated it. I was leading a diplomatic mission to establish trade relations with your colony. We watched 50,000 humans die in less than a minute." Dongmin felt his stomach turn. "The whole colony?" "Everything. People, animals, plants, bacteria. Even the organic components in their technology stopped working. It was like watching the universe itself die. But you survived. Crystal beings take longer to die from the protocol. We had time to escape in our ship, but barely. Most of my crew didn't make it." By the time Dongmin returned to Wanderer, 2 more fleets had arrived in Earth's solar system. A Vexari battle group led by the bio-ship Swarm Mother took position near Jupiter. A Nephilim energy collective formed a glowing cloud near Saturn. Both were demanding that Earth surrender the Kelthani refugees. "This is Hive Commander Zelk of the Vexari 4th Battle Group," came the transmission from the insectoid ship. "The crystal beings aboard that vessel are war criminals. They must be turned over to proper authorities for justice." The Nephilim response was more direct. "Beings of Earth, You harbor those who would destroy all biological life. Give them to us, or we will take them. Admiral Jang's face appeared on Wanderer's screen. Commander Choi, you need to get those refugees out of our system immediately. We have 2 hostile fleets making demands, and I don't have enough ships to fight them both. Admiral, where exactly am I supposed to take 17,000 refugees? They're asking for sanctuary. That's not our problem. Our problem is avoiding a war. But President Moon had different ideas. Admiral Jang, prepare Luna Base for incoming refugees. Commander Choi, escort the Crystal Harmony to lunar orbit. Sir, that's a direct violation of our neutrality policy. Admiral Jang protested. Our neutrality policy doesn't cover genocide, the president replied firmly. If these refugees are telling the truth, we're looking at the potential extinction of all biological life in the galaxy. That includes humanity. Mr. President, came a new voice. It was Ambassador Su-Yung Lee calling from the diplomatic station. I'm receiving ultimatums from both fleets. The Vexari say they'll open fire in 6 hours if we don't surrender the refugees. The Nephilim are giving us 4 hours. Hyunwoo looked at the tactical display. His little patrol ship was caught between 3 fleets, any one of which could destroy Wanderer without effort. But 17,000 beings were counting. On him to get them to safety. Warsinger Kithara, he called to the damaged Kelthani ship. Can your vessel make it to lunar orbit? We can try, Commander, but our engines are damaged. It will take time. Then we better get started. As Wanderer began escorting the Crystal Harmony toward Earth, Hyunwoo watched the alien fleets moving to intercept them. In a few hours, Earth would either be at war or would have abandoned 17,000 refugees to certain death. Sir, his tactical officer reported, both fleets are powering weapons. Send a message to Earth Command, Hyunwoo ordered. Tell them the next few hours are going to determine whether humanity stays neutral or finally picks a side. He looked at the cracked crystal ship limping beside them and thought about 50,000 dead humans on New Geneva. Maybe neutrality had been a luxury they could no longer afford. All hands prepare for possible combat, he announced to his crew, and pray that our government makes the right choice. The countdown had begun. In 6 hours, Earth would either break its 37-year policy of neutrality or watch 17,000 refugees die just outside their home system. Either way, everything was about to change. President Jae-hoon Moon stood before the United Earth Assembly as representatives from every nation watched him on screens around the globe. The Great Hall in Geneva was packed with delegates, their faces tense with the weight of the decision they had to make. Outside Earth's atmosphere, 3 alien fleets waited for humanity's answer. Members of the Assembly, President Moon began, for 37 years, Earth has maintained neutrality in the Galactic War. This policy has kept our world safe and allowed our people to prosper. Today, we must decide whether to continue that path or take a stand against something far worse than war. The Brazilian representative raised her hand. Mr. President, what proof do we have that this cleansing protocol actually exists? We're being asked to risk everything based on the word of refugees. Dr. Jinwoo Park stepped forward with a data pad. Delegate Santos, our engineers have confirmed the weapon signatures on the Kelthani refugee ship. The energy readings match exactly what we detected from the New Geneva system. 50,000 of our people are dead. A murmur went through the assembly. Many representatives were hearing about New Geneva for the first time. Furthermore, Dr. Park continued, our deep space monitors have detected similar energy signatures from 3 other systems in the past month. Each time, all biological life signs disappeared within hours of the energy pulse. The Japanese delegate leaned forward. What exactly are the Kelthani refugees offering in exchange for sanctuary? Warsinger Kithara appeared on the main screen, broadcasting from the damaged Crystal Harmony as it limped toward lunar orbit. Her crystalline features were still cracked, but her voice was clear and strong. People of Earth, we offer you our knowledge of crystal technology. Weapons that can match anything the Pure Light faction possesses, shields that can protect your worlds, and most importantly, the location of the facility where they are building the cleansing protocol weapons. How many weapons? Asked the Canadian representative. Our intelligence suggests they plan to build 60 devices, enough to sterilize every inhabited system in the galaxy within 1 year. The vote was closer than anyone expected. 193 votes to grant asylum. To the refugees, 187 votes to maintain neutrality. Earth had officially chosen a side. Colonel Sung-Hoon Bae received the order while he was inspecting the defenses of Luna Base. The moon's military installation had been designed to protect Earth from asteroids and pirates, not from alien battle fleets. But it was what they had. "All construction crews to priority stations," he announced over the base intercom. "We're going to war." The Kelthani refugees had brought more than just information. Hidden in the cargo holds of their damaged ship were samples of crystal technology that Earth's engineers had only dreamed about. Within hours, human workers were learning to grow crystal weapons that could cut through the exotic armor used by galactic navies. "The crystals respond to harmonic frequencies," explained Kelthani engineer Vexathara as she worked alongside human technicians. "Your people have excellent musical abilities. This will help you attune the weapons properly." Colonel Bae watched as his people learned to sing to crystal formations, causing them to grow into perfectly shaped weapon components. It was unlike anything in human military history, but it worked. "Sir," reported Sergeant Major Kyung, "the first crystal cannons will be ready for installation in 6 hours. The Kelthani estimate they'll have 3 times the power of our conventional weapons." "Good. What about the shield generators?" "That's going to take longer. The crystals need to be grown in zero gravity, and we need perfect harmony between multiple singers to create a stable field." Captain Young-Ho Nam was in the command center of Seoul's Fury when the first enemy probe approached Earth's defenses. His destroyer had been retrofitted with Kelthani crystal weapons in record time, but the crew was still learning how to use them. "Contact bearing 270, announced Sensor Officer Minji. "Single Vexari scout ship heading directly for lunar orbit. They're testing our defenses," Captain Nam said. "All hands to battle stations." The Vexari scout ship was typical of their biotechnology. It looked like a giant insect crossed with a warship, its hull pulsing with organic conduits. As it approached Luna Base, weapon pods along its sides began to glow with bioelectric energy. "Sir, they're powering weapons," reported Tactical Officer J. "Fire a warning shot across their bow." Seoul's Fury's new crystal cannon fired a beam of pure light that sliced through space ahead of the Vexari ship. The alien vessel immediately changed course, but instead of retreating, it accelerated toward the human destroyer. "Incoming fire!" Jay called out. The Vexari ship launched a volley of bioplasma that struck Seoul's Fury's shields. The human ship shook under the impact, but the new crystal-enhanced defenses held. "Return fire! Target their weapon pods!" Captain Nam watched as his crew worked the crystal weapons with growing confidence. The beam that struck the Vexari scout ship cut through its bio-armor like it was paper. The alien vessel spun away, trailing organic fluids that froze in the vacuum of space. "Sir, they're retreating," Minji reported. "Signal Luna Base. Tell them the aliens know we can fight back now." Dr. Minji Song had been working for 18 hours straight when she made the breakthrough. The quantum physicist had been studying the energy signatures from the cleansing protocol, trying to understand how the weapon worked at the most basic level. "It's not just destroying matter," she explained to the Emergency Science Council over video link. "It's rewriting the quantum field that holds atoms together. Once it starts, it spreads like a virus from molecule to molecule." Dr. Park looked exhausted on the screen. "Can it be stopped?" "Maybe. The field has to maintain quantum coherence to keep spreading. If we could create interference patterns at the right frequency, we might be able to disrupt it." "How?" "I'm not sure yet. But the Kelthani crystals generate their own quantum fields. If we could synchronize enough of them..." Intelligence Officer Tae-Yang Oh was supposed to be monitoring communications from the alien fleets, but the message he intercepted was far more important. Hidden in routine transmissions between the Vexari and Nephilim ships was an encrypted negotiation. He ran the decryption through Earth's best computers and felt his blood go cold when he read the results. "Sir," he reported to Admiral Jang, "the Vexari and Nephilim are planning to stop fighting each other temporarily. They want to unite against the Pure Light faction." "That's good news, isn't it?" "Not exactly, sir. They plan to destroy Earth first, as punishment for harboring the refugees. They figure that once they eliminate us, they can deal with the Pure Light without worrying about human interference." Admiral Jang stared at the intelligence report. "When?" "The attack begins in 72 hours. Both fleets will coordinate their assault on Earth's defenses, while a third fleet moves to destroy the crystal harmony." The next few days were a blur of activity as Earth prepared for its first real battle in space. The Kelthani refugees worked around the clock to share their technology, while human engineers pushed their abilities to the limit. Colonel Bay stood on the observation deck of Luna Base, watching the construction crews install the last of the crystal weapons. In the distance, he could see the lights of the Crystal Harmony, as Kelthani engineers worked to repair their damaged ship. "Sir," came a voice behind him. It was War Singer Kithara, her crystal form still showing cracks from her escape. "War Singer, how are the repairs coming?" "Slowly. But your people learn quickly. In 2 days, we have accomplished what normally takes months." She paused. "I must ask you something, Colonel. Why did your people choose to help us? You could have stayed neutral." Colonel Bay looked out at Earth, hanging blue and white in the black sky. "Because staying neutral only works if everyone else is willing to let you stay neutral. The pure, light faction wasn't going to give us that choice. And if we lose this battle, then at least we'll lose fighting for something we believe in, instead of dying on our knees." 3 Nephilim assault ships materialized out of hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system, just as the intelligence reports had predicted. They moved like living clouds of gas and lightning, their energy forms crackling with power that could drain the atmosphere from a planet. "All stations, this is Admiral Jang," came the announcement across Earth's defense network. "Enemy contacts, inbound. This is not a drill. The first battle for Earth was about to begin." 6 months had passed since Earth's first battle, and the galaxy was starting to understand that humans were different from any other species they had encountered. General Heian Lim stood in the command center on Luna Base, coordinating military operations across 12 different star systems. "General, we have another request for human advisors," reported Colonel Sung-Hoon Bay. "The Kelthani colony at Vexhar is under siege by pure light forces. They specifically asked for human tactical support." General Lim studied the holographic display showing Vexhar's defensive positions. "What makes them think we can help where their own military commanders have failed?" "Because humans think differently, ma'am. We don't follow the same patterns that other species use in warfare." It was true. In every battle so far, human forces had surprised both enemies and allies with their unconventional tactics. Where other species had military doctrines that had been refined over millions of years, humans improvised and adapted constantly. Commander Jaehyun Kang was leading the Joint Strike Force to liberate the mining world of Korath when he first realized just how different human thinking really was. His ships were approaching the planet alongside Vexari biovessels, preparing to attack the Pure Light Occupation Force. "Commander," came the voice of Hive Captain Zelk over the communication system, "our battle plan calls for a direct assault on their shield generators. Standard Vexari doctrine requires us to establish air superiority first." "With respect, Hive Captain, their shields are too strong for a direct assault. We need to try something else." "What do you suggest?" Jaehyun looked at the tactical display. Korath was a mining world with hundreds of tunnels running through its crust. The Pure Light forces had built their base on the surface, but they probably hadn't secured all the underground passages. "We don't attack their shields," he said. "We go around them." 3 hours later, Jaehyun led a team of human marines and Vexari warriors through abandoned mining tunnels deep beneath the planet's surface. The Pure Light forces had sensors watching the sky and the surface approaches, but they weren't watching below. "Human tactical thinking is most strange," whispered Vexari warrior Zack as they crawled through a tunnel barely wide enough for their equipment. "My people would never consider hiding underground like insects." "That's exactly why it works," Jaehyun replied. "They won't expect it either." The attack came from below just as Pure Light forces were preparing to repel the orbital assault. Human explosives placed at key structural points brought down 3 shield generators simultaneously. Vexari warriors poured through the tunnels while human ships attacked from above. "Victory achieved," reported Hive Captain Zelk afterward. "But I do not understand your methods. How did you know to attack from below?" "Because that's what I would do if someone was attacking my base," Jaehyun said simply. "I'd watch the obvious approaches and ignore the difficult ones." Dr. Kyungmin Chai was working in her laboratory aboard the research station Hope when she made the discovery that would change everything. For months, she had been studying the quantum mechanics of the cleansing protocol, trying to understand how it worked and how it might be stopped. The weapon creates a cascade effect, she explained to the assembled scientists through holographic link. It doesn't just destroy matter in one location. It creates a quantum field that spreads from molecule to molecule, rewriting the basic structure of reality. Dr. Jinwoo Park leaned forward from his position on Earth. Can it be reversed? Not reversed, but it can be reflected. I call it the mirror protocol. Kyung-min activated a holographic display showing complex quantum equations. If we can generate the exact opposite quantum signature, we can create dead zones where the cleansing protocol cannot function. How big would these dead zones be? With our current technology, maybe a few kilometers. But if we could build a network of quantum mirrors around important planets, the implications were staggering. For the first time since the Pure Light faction had developed their terrible weapon, there was hope for a real defense. Captain Seok-Jin Yu was commanding the evacuation fleet when Kelthani Prime came under attack. The Pure Light faction had finally decided to destroy their own homeworld rather than let it fall to the impure coalition that opposed them. "Captain, we have 1,700 transport ships in orbit," reported his executive officer. "But there are 2 billion Kelthani on the planet's surface." Seok-Jin looked at the tactical display. Pure Light warships were approaching fast, and they had enough firepower to crack the planet's crust. The evacuation fleet could save maybe 10% of the population before the attack arrived. "Send a message to all transport captains," he ordered. "Overload your cargo bays. Pack people in every available space. Ignore safety regulations." "Sir, that's incredibly dangerous." "Not as dangerous as leaving them here to die." What followed was the largest evacuation in galactic history. Human transport ships designed to carry 500 people packed in 3,000. Kelthani civilians were stacked in cargo holds, packed into maintenance shafts, even strapped to the outside of ships in emergency suits. When the Pure Light attack arrived, Seok-Jin's fleet was still loading refugees. Half the ships weren't even space-worthy according to safety standards. "All ships, emergency jump now!" he broadcast as Pure Light weapons began bombarding the planet's surface. The evacuation fleet scattered in all directions. They're overloaded. Ships jumping to predetermined rally points across the galaxy. By the time the Pure Light forces had finished destroying Kelthani Prime, 1,700 human and allied ships had carried nearly 2 billion refugees to safety. "Captain Yu," came a transmission from war singer Kythera, now aboard one of the refugee ships. "Your people saved my entire species today. We will never forget this debt." But the evacuation had revealed something important about humanity that the rest of the galaxy was just beginning to understand. While other species followed protocols and regulations even in emergencies, humans ignored rules when lives were at stake. Admiral Boram Seo was studying intelligence reports when she made the discovery that would determine the war's next phase. Hidden in communications intercepts and sensor data was information about a massive construction project in the Kelthani home system. "It's a space station," she reported to the Joint Command Council. "At least 50 kilometers across, hidden in the Broken Ring Nebula. Our sources indicate it's the primary construction facility for cleansing protocol weapons." General Lim examined the tactical data. "Defenses? Extensive. The station is protected by automated defense grids, sensor jammers, and at least 3 fleets of Pure Light warships. The nebula interferes with most alien sensors and communication systems." "Most alien sensors," repeated President Moon from Earth. "What about human sensors?" "Our radar and electromagnetic systems work differently than crystalline or bioorganic sensors. We might be able to see through the interference." Dr. Park raised an important question. "How many weapons are they building?" "According to Kelthani intelligence, the station can produce 1 cleansing protocol device every week. They've been operating for 6 months. The math was simple and terrifying. The Pure Light faction had enough weapons to sterilize dozens of worlds, with more being built constantly. If they weren't stopped soon, they would have enough firepower to cleanse the entire galaxy. "We need to destroy that station," General Lim said flatly. "With what?" Admiral Seo asked. "It would take our entire fleet to have any chance of success, and we'd probably lose most of our ships in the attempt." Captain Young-Ho Nam had been listening to the discussion from his position aboard Sol's Fury. His ship was now one of the most advanced vessels in Earth's fleet, equipped with the latest human Kelthani hybrid technology. "Admiral," he said, "what if we don't fight our way through their defenses? What if we fight our way around them?" Explain. The nebula that hides the station also hides our approach. If we can get close enough without being detected, we can plant charges on the station's power core, destroy it from the inside instead of trying to break through from the outside. It was a desperate plan, but it was also exactly the kind of unconventional thinking that had made human forces so effective. While other species thought in terms of fleet battles and sieges, humans thought in terms of problems to be solved. How close would we need to get? General Lim asked. Close enough to dock with the station. It would be a boarding action, not a space battle. The idea was insane by any military standard. But as the Council reviewed the intelligence data, they realized it might be their only chance. The pure, light faction was building weapons of mass extinction faster than the Coalition could destroy them. Conventional warfare wasn't going to be enough. Prepare a strike force, President Moon ordered. We're going to hit them where they least expect it. Admiral Seo began planning the most important military operation in human history. If they succeeded, they might stop the cleansing protocol before it could spread across the galaxy. If they failed, every living world would be at risk. One thing I don't understand, Dr. Che said during the final planning session. Why are humans so good at this kind of warfare? What makes us different from species with millions of years more experience? General Lim considered the question. Because we're young, she said finally. Every other species has been Phi. Fleet Admiral Ha-Joon Kim stood on the bridge of the massive battleship New Earth, watching the final preparations for the largest military operation in human history. Around him, ships from Earth, Mars, the Jupiter colonies, and a dozen allied worlds formed the greatest fleet humanity had ever assembled. Admiral, final fleet count is ready, reported Captain Isul Huang from her command ship Incheon Strike. 237 human vessels, plus allied ships from 6 different species. Total force strength, 412 combat vessels. Ha-Joon studied the tactical display showing the Broken Ring Nebula where the pure light weapon station was hidden. The swirling clouds of gas and debris would hide their approach, but it would also make communication and coordination nearly impossible once they were inside. Remember, he announced to all ship captains, this isn't a conventional battle. We're not trying to destroy their fleet. We're trying to get close enough to plant charges on that station. Every ship that makes it through saves billions of lives. The plan was built around humanity's growing reputation for unpredictable tactics. While the pure light forces expected a direct assault, the human fleet would split into dozens of small groups and approach from every direction simultaneously. Some groups would attack the outer defenses to draw attention. Others would sneak through the nebula to reach the station itself. Commander Woo Jin Park led Squadron 7 into the nebula first. His 5 ships were equipped with the latest sensor technology, designed to map safe passages through the interference field that hid the pure light station. Contacts ahead, reported his sensor officer as they moved deeper into the swirling gas clouds. 3 pure light patrol ships, crystal design. Mark their positions but don't engage. We're scouts, not fighters. The pure light ships passed within a few kilometers of the human squadron, but their crystal sensors couldn't penetrate the nebula's interference. Woo Jin watched them drift past like blind giants, completely unaware that enemy forces were already inside their defensive perimeter. Admiral Kim, he transmitted using tight beam communications, we have a clear path to the station. Sending navigation data now. Captain Isil Huang received the navigation update and began implementing her part of the plan. Her ship was equipped with atmospheric processors originally designed for terraforming operations, but human engineers had found a different use for them. Deploy particle spreaders, she ordered. Fill the nebula with metallic dust. Incheon Strike began seeding the nebula with microscopic metal particles, creating an artificial sensor network that would give human forces a tactical advantage. While alien sensors were confused by the nebula's natural interference, human radar systems could track the metallic particles and build a real-time map of everything moving inside the gas clouds. It's working, reported her tactical officer. We can see their patrol patterns now. Looks like they have 17 ships guarding the approach routes. Signal the attack squadrons. Tell them where to find targets. The battle began when Commander Sung Min Yoon's attack group encountered the first Pure Light Patrol. His squadron of 6 destroyers had been modified with Kelthani crystal weapons, giving them firepower that could match much larger alien ships. Enemy. Squadron bearing 045, called his sensor operator. 4 ships, heavy crystal armor. Attack pattern Alpha. Hit them fast and keep moving. The human ships struck like lightning, appearing out of the nebula's swirling clouds to fire concentrated volleys at the pure light patrol. The alien ships, designed for formation fighting, couldn't adapt quickly enough to the humans' hit and run. Tactics. Target destroyed, reported Tactical Officer Sue. The others are trying to retreat. Let them go. Our job is to make noise, not fight fair. While the attack squadrons created chaos in the outer defenses, the real mission was happening. Deeper in the nebula, demolitions expert Ga-Young Ryu led a boarding party aboard the stealth ship Shadow's Edge as it approached the Pure Light Weapons Station. The station was enormous, easily 50 kilometers across, with crystalline structures growing like a cancer throughout its interior. Thousands of Pure Light workers moved through its corridors, building weapons that could sterilize entire worlds. "Look at the size of that thing," whispered Marine Sergeant Inho as their ship moved closer. "How are we supposed to destroy something that big?" "We don't destroy all of it," Ga-Young replied, checking her explosives one more time. "We just need to hit the power core, take out the main reactor, and the whole thing goes dark." Shadow's Edge docked with a maintenance port on the station's outer ring. The Pure Light forces were so confident in their defenses that they hadn't bothered to heavily guard the service areas. "Remember," Ga-Young told her team as they prepared to board, "we've got maybe 30 minutes before their security forces realize we're here. Plant the charges, set the timers, and get out." The boarding party moved through the station's corridors like ghosts. While other species relied on energy weapons and shields, humans brought explosives, kinetic weapons, and a willingness to fight in environments that would terrify most aliens. "Contact ahead," reported Corporal Mina as they approached the power core chamber. 6 Pure Light guards, crystal formation. The Kelthani. Pure Light guards were beautiful and deadly, their crystalline bodies able to withstand energy weapons that would destroy most organic beings. But they had never fought humans before. Ga-Young's team attacked with projectile weapons and explosive charges that shattered crystal armor like glass. The fight was over in seconds, leaving the power core chamber undefended. "Technical Specialist Chanho, you're up," Ga-Young called. Technical Specialist Chanho Moon was the best computer expert in Earth's military, and he had been studying Pure Light technology for months. The station's control systems were beautiful, with crystalline interfaces that responded to harmonic frequencies. But they were also vulnerable to a kind of attack that the Pure Light had never considered. "I'm in their system," he reported as his fingers danced over the crystal controls. "Holy Mother of Admiral, they have 60 cleansing protocol weapons ready for deployment. The launch sequence is already programmed." Admiral Kim's voice crackled through the communication system. "Can you stop the launch?" "Better than that. I can reprogram the targeting system. Instead of launching them at inhabited worlds, I can redirect them toward uninhabited gas giants and dead systems, burn out the weapons harmlessly. Do it." Chanho worked frantically as alarms began sounding throughout the station. The Pure Light forces had finally realized they were under attack, and security teams were moving toward the power core chamber. "Sir, I need 5 more minutes to complete the reprogramming," he called to Ga-Young. "You've got it," she replied, positioning her team to defend the chamber entrance. The battle for the power core was like nothing in military history. Pure Light security forces advanced in perfect crystal formations, their weapons firing beams of coherent light that could cut through steel. But human Marines fought from cover, using tactics learned in a dozen wars on Earth. "Grenade out!" called Sergeant Inho as he lobbed an explosive into the crystal formation. The blast shattered 3 guards and sent the others scrambling for cover. 2 minutes, Chanho! Ga-Young shouted over the sound of weapons fire. Commander Ji-Won-Yun was leading the evacuation when the station's self-destruct sequence activated. The Pure Light forces, realizing they were about to lose their primary weapons facility, decided to destroy everything rather than let it fall into enemy hands. "All boarding parties, immediate evacuation," came Admiral Kim's voice over the communication system. "The station is going to explode." Ji-Won could have made it to her evacuation ship in time. Her team was already at the docking port, ready to escape. But sensors showed that several groups of allied Kelthani and Vexari warriors were trapped deeper in the station. "Keep the engines running," she told her pilot. "I'm going back for the others. Commander, there isn't time. There's always time to do the right thing." What followed was a desperate rescue operation as human soldiers refused to abandon their alien allies. Jiwon led team after team through collapsing corridors and failing life support systems, bringing out every trapped warrior she could find. "Sir, the station's power core is going critical," reported her communications officer. "We need to leave." "Now!" "Not without everyone," Jiwon replied, carrying an injured Vexari warrior toward the evacuation ship. She made it to her ship just as the power core exploded. The massive station tore itself apart in a chain reaction of crystal fractures and collapsing superstructure. But every human and allied warrior made it out alive. "Commander Yun," came a transmission from Warsinger Kithara aboard one of the Kelthani ships. "Your people saved 47 of my warriors today. We will sing of your courage for 1,000 years." The destruction of the weapons station marked the beginning of the end for the Pure Light faction. Without their primary manufacturing facility, they couldn't build new cleansing protocol weapons fast enough to execute their plan for galactic sterilization. "Admiral," reported Captain Huang as the fleet regrouped outside the nebula, "we're receiving surrender offers from Pure Light commanders across 3 star systems. It looks like they're giving up." Fleet Admiral Kim looked at the tactical display showing the scattered remains of the weapons station. 1 year after the destruction of the Pure Light weapons facility, Secretary General Hyasu Jion stood before the newly completed Galactic Peace Council building on Luna. The structure was a marvel of cooperative engineering, combining human architecture with Kelthani crystal growing techniques, Vexari bioorganic materials, and Nephilim energy field generators. "Representatives of the galaxy," she began, addressing delegates from over 40 different species. "We gather today not as former enemies, but as partners in building a better future for all life. The war that had consumed the galaxy for over a decade was finally over. The Vexari swarm had stopped expanding and begun focusing on healing their damaged worlds. The Kelthani Empire was rebuilding after the Pure Light Rebellion, with help from their former enemies. The Nephilim Collective had established peaceful borders and opened trade negotiations with biological species. Admiral Gaeanwu Cho walked through the corridors of the starship Unity, the flagship of the new Galactic Defense Fleet. The ship itself represented everything the galaxy had learned about cooperation. Its hull was grown from Kelthani crystals, its life support systems were based on Vexari biotechnology, and its power core used Nephilim energy collection methods. But the crew was mixed, with beings from a dozen different worlds working together. "Admiral," reported his second-in-command, a Kelthani officer named Harmony Singer Vexathala. "We have completed our patrol of the Outer Rim sectors. No signs of aggressive activity." "Good. How is the crew integration coming along?" "Better than expected. The human officers are particularly good at helping different species work together. They seem to understand everyone's perspective." It was true. In the year since the war ended, humans had become the galaxy's most requested mediators. Their short history and lack of ancient prejudices made them ideal for resolving conflicts between species that had been enemies for millions of years. The Bridge of Unity reflected this new cooperation. Captain Youngie Kim worked alongside a Vexari navigation specialist whose compound eyes could see hyperspace currents invisible to other species. The tactical station was operated by a Nephilim energy being who could predict enemy movements by analyzing probability fields. The communications officer was human because humans had proven to be the best at learning alien languages quickly. "Captain," called the Vexari navigator, "we're receiving a distress call from the Aldris system. A colony ship has suffered engine failure." "Set course for Aldris," Captain Kim ordered. "Maximum speed." The rescue mission that followed showed how much the galaxy had changed. Unity's crew worked together seamlessly, using each species' strengths to solve the problem. Kelthani engineers grew crystal patches to repair hull breaches. Vexari technicians used bioorganic components to replace damaged systems. Nephilim energy beings recharged the colony ship's power systems. Human coordinators made sure everyone knew what was happening and when. "All refugees safely aboard," reported the human rescue coordinator. 200 families from 6 different species. "Outstanding work, everyone," Captain Kim announced to her mixed crew. "This is what the Galactic Defense Fleet was created for." Chief Strategist Yoonju Ha was reviewing intelligence reports in her office on Luna when she made a discovery that explained everything about humanity's role in the galaxy. She had been studying the historical patterns of galactic warfare, trying to understand why the three-way conflict had lasted so long. Every species in this galaxy evolved on worlds where they were the dominant life form, she explained to President Moon during their weekly briefing. They developed rigid thinking patterns over millions of years. The Vexari always swarm and overwhelm. The Kelthani always build and defend. The Nephilim always consume and expand. And humans? We evolved on a world with thousands of different species. We learned to adapt, to change our behavior based on circumstances. That's why we could see solutions that they couldn't. It was a profound realization. Earth's biodiversity had prepared humanity for galactic diversity in ways that no one had expected. While other species had perfected one way of living, humans had learned to live in many different ways. Dr. Sung-ho An was working in his laboratory at the new Interspecies Research Institute when he achieved the breakthrough that would define the next phase of galactic civilization. For months, he had been working with scientists from every major species, studying ways to repair worlds damaged by the war. "We've done it," he announced to his team of mixed researchers. "The restoration process works." On the holographic display, a dead world slowly came back to life. The cleansing protocol had sterilized the planet's surface, but the new technique could rebuild the quantum fields that held matter together. Slowly, carefully, life could return to worlds that had been considered permanently dead. "How long for a complete restoration?" asked Dr. Vexithara, his Kelthani research partner. "About 50 years for a typical world. But the process is self-sustaining. Once it starts, we just need to plant the seeds and life will grow back naturally." The first restoration project began on New Geneva, the human colony that had been used to test the cleansing protocol. Families who had lost loved ones in the attack were given the chance to help bring their world back to life. War singer Kithara stood beside human colonist families as they planted the first seeds in soil that had been dead for over a year. The Kelthani refugees had insisted on helping with the restoration, saying it was their duty to repair the damage caused by their own people's madness. "This world will live again," Kithara sang in the harmonious tones that Kelthani used for their most sacred ceremonies. "Life will triumph over death, hope over despair." The restoration of New Geneva became a symbol of the galaxy's rebirth. Representatives from dozens of worlds came to witness the ceremony and pledge their support for similar projects across the galaxy. Captain Yungai Kim was selected to command the exploration vessel New Earth on humanity's most ambitious mission yet. The ship was designed to travel beyond the galaxy's edge, exploring regions where no known species had ever ventured. "Final crew assignments are complete," reported her executive officer as they prepared for departure. "We have representatives from 12 different species, plus the best scientists and explorers the galaxy has to offer." The ship itself was a masterpiece of cooperative technology. Human engines provided speed and maneuverability. Kelthani sensors could detect quantum anomalies across vast distances. Vexari biocomputers could process enormous amounts of data simultaneously. Nephilim energy collectors could power the ship indefinitely. "All stations report ready for departure," announced the mixed crew. Captain Kim looked at the tactical display showing the edge of known space. Beyond lay mysteries that no one had ever explored. Worlds that might harbor new forms of life. Perhaps even new civilizations that could join the growing galactic community. "Take us out," she ordered. As New Earth accelerated toward the galaxy's edge, Captain Kim reflected on how much everything had changed. A year ago, the galaxy had been consumed by a war that threatened to destroy all life. Today, former enemies were working together to explore new frontiers. The ship's observation deck had become a gathering place for the mixed crew during off-duty hours. Captain Kim often found representatives from different species there, sharing stories and learning about each other's cultures. "Captain," said Dr. Minji Song, the ship's human physicist, "I've been thinking about why the galaxy is finally at peace." "Oh?" "It's not just because the war ended. It's because we all learned something from humans." "What's that?" "That diversity makes you stronger. Every other species in the galaxy had become too specialized, too focused on one way of doing things, but humans showed them that there are always other options, other ways to solve problems." Through the viewport, The edge of the galaxy spread out before them, a barrier of dark space beyond which lay infinite possibilities. New Earth crossed that barrier and kept going, carrying representatives of a dozen worlds into the unknown. In the ship's forward lounge, children from different species played together, speaking a new common language that had evolved naturally from their interactions. They didn't see differences between crystal beings and bioforms and energy creatures. They just saw friends. "Look at them," said Vexari biologist Zak as he watched the children play. "They will grow up in a galaxy where cooperation is normal, where war between species is just an old story." Captain Kim nodded. "That's the real victory, not defeating the pure light faction, but creating a future where something like that can never happen again. The exploration of unknown space would take years, perhaps decades. But the crew of New Earth was patient. They represented a galaxy that had learned the value of working together, of combining different strengths to achieve common goals. As they traveled deeper into unexplored regions, they carried with them the greatest lesson humanity had taught the galaxy, that diversity was not a weakness to be overcome, but a strength to be celebrated. Behind them, in the galaxy they had left, former enemies continued to work together. Worlds damaged by war were being restored. New technologies were being developed through cooperative research. Trade flowed freely between species that had once fought to the death. And on Luna, in the halls of the Galactic Peace Council, representatives from 40 different worlds,